What's up, guys? Zane here with Rishi, who you've seen me filming with before.
On this couch.
On this very couch with these pillows. But last time it was an interview, and today we're bringing you something a little bit different. Rishi and I have felt for a while that there's a lot of spaces for people to nebulously talk about Smash and Melee and what's going on.
Yeah, like on Twitch where people are just kind of asked by the chat, what do you think about this issue?
Right.
Like, what are your opinions on this thing that just happened? But that all kind of happens live, and then it kind of gets lost in the void.
Yeah, it's so interesting when so much of our, the hub for our community is Twitter and Reddit and just the musings of Twitch chat and Facebook groups.
Yep.
There's not a concerted, historical record of people talking about stuff, and it's not necessarily about the history, but we'd like to make this podcast, because that's what this is. Yep. Welcome to Analog, our new podcast.
Yeah.
A place where we can talk about the stuff that's going on in Melee right now. And, there's people out there doing that. We're not going to deny that. Commentator's Curse is great. I fucking love Slime's podcast, too, but it's not exactly the bent we're going for. So, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm really excited about this project, personally. I know there are a lot of podcast listeners out there, including myself recently. I never used to, but recently I realized it's a really good way to pass time at work.
At work. Yep.
If you guys are out there and you're looking to just casually listen to a couple guys talking about issues in Smash and esports, then feel free to check us out.
Yep.
Right now we're planning on broadcasting on both YouTube and SoundCloud for the moment.
Yep, so you'll be able to download us, take us with you, because we know YouTube is not the ideal mobile viewing thing, especially if you have to go on the subway to get to work.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But in general, you can find us on @analog or @analogcast across those different platforms. We're on Twitter as well.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Yeah. All right, with all of the introductions done,
let's jump into it.
Let's get into it.
Yeah.
I love that phrase. Let's get into it.
Yeah.
So first thing we're talking about, it's been 2 weeks now, right? Was it, or is it just last week?
Since Full Bloom?
Was it just last
week? Full Bloom
was
6 days ago.
6 days ago. Dude, I can't, it
5,
really
6 days ago.
Yeah, that's why you're
I'm
tired.
still feeling the effects of it.
Okay,
yeah.
Full Bloom 6 days ago. Full Bloom, who was it? I think Fendi tweeted out, I'm so glad that Full Bloom lived up to being the spring major.
Yeah, the spring major.
And it really did. It was an amazing tournament.
Yeah.
In terms of watching from home for me, and then you went.
Yeah,
so,
I was there.
Yeah. But I think a little bit, it's really interesting because Full Bloom, so I know a lot of the people behind Full Bloom, like Jackzilla and Juna and those sort of people. And they really have been pushing the grassroots aspect of it for a while. And what's so interesting is Full Bloom sort of got boosted, actually,
they
because
did.
of the controversy with Esports Arena.
Yeah.
And it ended up being, I'm not saying great that they scheduled over, but
I still have not completely wrapped my head around or done the research into how that happened. We were all kind of not really clear on the details at the moment.
Yeah.
I know that Esports Arena was trying to address it as quickly as they could, and within I guess it was 1 or 2 days, they said we're not going to host our Melee event. Yeah. And for those of you who missed it, Esports Arena, I think they just moved to their new place recently, right? In Vegas.
Yeah, they opened a new place. They had the event there the same weekend, which was, there was another Sonic Fox versus Goichi exhibition, and then there was Smash Masters, which Nairo won last weekend. But yeah, there was initially supposed to be a Melee event at the same. It was going to be
the same
Melee,
weekend as Full Bloom with a big pop bonus and everything.
Yep, as part of their circuit that they've started. But because of scheduling over, they ended up saying they donated money to Full Bloom as a pot bonus.
Yep. And
they canceled their Melee event, and they said winner of Full Bloom will get Smash Masters points, I think, for their tour as well.
Or like a flight or something?
Yeah. Oh, a flight to the next
event.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then additionally, Full Bloom ended up being the Summit qualifier tournament, too.
Yeah, which was crazy.
Yeah.
And yeah, throughout that whole controversy, we saw I forget what the exact hashtag was, but it was hashtag something grassroots.
Yeah. I think that was actually, I think Jack started that as sort of a joke.
Yeah.
Because it was so much of a cliched story of the little grassroots tournament against big esports arena. So I think it was somewhat of a joke. But it's cool because a lot of our grassroots tournament series have not survived for that long. You know, they've gone a few iterations. Like Pound came back, and Pound was great, and then Pound had to. They're making their
their slow return.
But
so I just want to take a second. So when we're talking about Grassroots, like what are we talking about?
Yeah, it's interesting because I think
it's so easy. You can just say like this is a Grassroots tournament, and you can advertise it like that, and then people won't know the difference.
Right, and it's so it is a really weird, sticky distinction because I think one of the ways people think about it is, oh, if it has people from the Melee community behind it, then it's Grassroots. And
well,
if
people from the Melee community now are everywhere.
Well, yeah, and I mean, 2GG, like the esports arena stuff, like that has Melee people behind it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. To me, the thing that sets Full Bloom apart is that it's even more Grassroots than something like Big House to me in a way.
Yeah.
Because it's sort of like the Doc Kid of tournaments. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess.
This is the fourth one.
Right.
It's so obviously Big House is Grassroots too.
Yeah.
And Rob does all that basically on his own.
And he's born and raised in Melee.
Yeah, exactly. But it's really cool to see a new tournament series. Really actually new. Because here's the thing too. Big House has always been prestigious. Obviously the first one wasn't super duper super major Lovage won it, but pretty soon after that
it's been iconic.
Yeah. And so it's really cool to see Full Bloom, which was just a regional, even last year almost,
right? So
go to this level.
When I think Grassroots, like if I'm trying to categorize tournaments into Grassroots and not Grassroots, so one aspect of it is like how the tournament feels.
Yeah.
You go to Evo, it's never gonna feel like it's Grassroots.
That's a good point.
You know?
Yeah.
Even though the people who are running Evo, at least from the perspective of a traditional fighting game player, these are run by people who have grown up in fighting games. It doesn't necessarily feel like a quote-unquote Grassroots event. The other aspect of it is how much of the local community is involved in the actual organization of the event.
That's true.
And I think that really shows through in Full Bloom, because I guess it was like 2 or 3 months ago when Full Bloom was kind of just getting on my radar. I hadn't really given it that much thought yet because we were kind of cooling down from the fall-winter season, which was incessant. But I guess I got a couple tweets or DMs from people in that region who I didn't know, but they were like, we'd really appreciate you coming out to our tournament. Like, our scene's working really hard on it. And that's what gives me the Grassroots. The Grassroots.
Well, here's a story. I remember I was watching Mango's stream, I guess it was 2 months ago, like 2 or 3 months ago, before Full Bloom. Yeah. And people were asking, are you going to go to Full Bloom? And he's like, man, if you want to get me into a tournament, you know what you have to do? You gotta pay me to be there.
Yeah.
You gotta give me a hotel room.
Yeah.
And you gotta give me alcohol. And then I'll go to your tournament.
Well, and then he needs to hit a sub.
I don't need a pop
and then
bonus,
he'll go to the tournament.
But it was really funny because what ended up happening is Jack was in the chat, and Jack was like, Mega, we will supply your hotel room. No, it wasn't even you have to pay me. But Jack was like, we will pay you.
Yeah.
And Mango was like, Full Bloom, you say? Yeah, if you're gonna, sure. Why not? So Jack, literally the way they confirmed Mango.
That's hilarious.
Is from talking to him in his stream. That's Grassroots, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is actually. That's something I've been thinking a lot about too, is like how the TOs are interacting with the players they want to come to their tournaments. Mm-hmm. Because these days, like, I've had people message me, they're like, hey, can you come to our tournament like next Saturday? And I'm like, oh, cool, like, where is it? Give me the details. And they're like, we can give you $20 for a bus to get there, and it's 5 hours from you. I'm like, well, I don't know if I want to go to that. On the other hand, you have someone like Ashcon who messages me months in advance of Pat's house and, puts me on the compendium, like, guarantees that we'll get to go.
Listen, I don't want to toot my own horn or anything, but I really think that HTC Esports actually started that trend. Like, yeah? I'm not even kidding. HTC Throwdown, I'm sure people were getting flown out beforehand, but HTC Throwdown, we flew out like 15 people to that tournament. And like from Europe too. Like we paid for so many people's flights. We paid for Leffen's flight.
Wow.
We paid for Hungrybox's flight. We paid for Mewtwo King's flight. We paid for Drugged Fox, I think. So, like, it was... I know, because I was Silent Wolf. I was the one in charge of choosing the people to fly out to that tournament. And looking and seeing if it was, like, a reasonable thing. And, yeah, we ended up flying out, like, 15 people to a one-day major, essentially.
Dude, if that's true, then you started an arms race. It's an arms race now, because now I have TOs from, like, you know, a relatively big tournament, and they'll offer to put you on a compendium, and it's like, that's cool, but, you know, how's the VIP room? You know?
Oh my god.
Because we another sick TO, Khalil, at Smash Valley.
Yeah.
He also does outreach hella early, and we get there and they're like, yo, there's a VIP room, like we got fruit for you, we got snacks, we got CRTs, like I could play my tournament sets back there. And shout outs to Zane, who says he ate 8 bananas that day. He ate 8 bananas.
That's really
because
funny.
he was like, well, I guess I should eat another banana.
That
like,
is
it's good for me.
I want to get this out of the way early, but that is going to be a continual thing where Rishi's going to say Zane,
no,
and
you're
I'm
right.
going to go, wait, what?
I thought about that.
Because that's my name too. Yeah, that's going to be...
We'll clarify it.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah, so I thought that was sick. And then I heard about the VIP room at EGLX, which was 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Now. I don't know how much you heard about that VIP room, but apparently they had a chef back there.
What?
They literally had a chef.
Wait. EGLX is run by the same people who run Gommel, right? Is that right? No.
I don't think so.
No, Gommel is... No, wait. Oh, I always get EGLX, Gommel, and Canada Cup confused. Canada Cup's Lapchi.
Okay,
And
yeah.
then
I honestly have no idea. I just know that...
I'm going to Gommel, and I'm like, wait, there's a chef? That's my sole interest.
They had a chef. I heard that he was explaining to them what all the foods were back there when they got there. And then when they all left, they had goodie bags, personalized goodie bags.
Oh no.
Apparently Axe had a bunch of Pikachus in his. Crap like that. Those people are ahead in the arms race. This is what I'm talking about.
That's true.
It's more than just
interesting.
getting a flight now. It's you want to get the lavish experience.
But at the same time, it's really... Because the point of that whole little thing Mango said was listen, if you get me a flight and some alcohol, I'm good.
Yeah.
That's it. And as much as we've shifted from, players will just go to events because they want to play... A flight isn't that much when you take into consideration running the full scale of a tournament, how much you're budgeting for promotion and stuff.
For sure.
A round trip flight, because it's still better for us to be in the several hundreds of dollar range than in the you need to spend per person than in the you need to spend thousands of dollars to get one person to come to your tournament. So that's
paying for
cool.
Mango's flight and his booze, you get returns on that, because if it was just. There's a big difference between Full Bloom being HBox and Leffen.
You get huge returns
Mango
on it.
HBox
No, I mean, Jack tweeted out, after Mango registered, we went from, 150 entrants to 250 in a day or something.
Yeah, of course. I mean, a 2-god tournament just feels so different from a 3-god tournament. Yeah. It's, I don't know, it makes a big difference.
Yeah, that's such a big difference. Yeah. It's so weird. That's why Plup's DreamHack Atlanta win was all right, you did it, but come on.
Well, now we live in a world where Plup won Genesis, so but it's cool that we have this kind of thing to consider now, because that means that there are so many tournaments where it literally comes down to how we can break down so many different aspects of the player experience in choosing what tournaments we actually go to. Yeah. Especially for the top players who are being sought out by the TOs. Yeah. And I know EGLX literally had one person whose job it was. I don't recall her name off the top of my head, but I know it was her job specifically to handle player hospitality. So she's the one who organized all the VIP room stuff. Mm-hmm. And I know, for Midwest tournaments, they try and fly people out for suite. and tournaments like that, and they have Eris in charge of similar things. Like she'll make sure that they're housed, that they're having fun and hanging out with people. So, for any TOs out there, either local or regional or super major, like it is a worthy investment to have someone take ownership of player experience.
It's even just getting one player. Like we're talking about boost your regional to a major by getting a god or something.
Yeah.
And top level players, but you can do it at a lower level than that too. This is something that EGTV used to always do.
Yeah.
With all the tournaments they ran, like Emerald City and everything. Every Emerald City had one or two really, really compelling out of region visitors.
Yeah.
It was Crush, or it was Spud,
right.
or it was Hugo, or just someone who would be there to really actually be like, oh, I wonder how Spud's gonna fare at Emerald City, or I wonder, like, Bladewise and Hugo, that should be an interesting matchup.
These players are magnets, right?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of players who are really hungry to add those wins to their resume. Like,
right.
That's definitely been me at many portions of my Smash career. Like, I remember, I guess it was a year and a half ago now, going to Eden in Chicago. That was like one of the first tournaments of my like starting to travel a lot, because I was in grad school and I had a lot of free time,
right?
As you do in grad school, I guess depending on what you do, but I had a lot of free time, and there were a number of top players there who were flown out, and I was there on my own dollar, and some of them were like, "What are you doing here? Like I don't know, why did you come?" And I'm like, I want to beat you guys.
I can beat you.
Yeah,
exactly.
Like,
That's
why I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm out there to compete, and now there are more and more people. Well, I'm hesitant to make that statement now that I think about it, because I don't know how many of those players are now sitting at home playing net play.
I don't know.
I mean, there are still people who are fiending to get those wins. Getting ranked high on net play and beating people on net play is not the same.
Yeah.
As getting those wins at regionals.
There's definitely people fiending. It's a newer generation. It always turns over. It's Spark now who's fiending.
Yeah. I saw he opted into Summit nominations.
Yeah. It's Toussaint.
I know Toussaint is hungry.
Yeah, but he's like he went to Emerald City.
Yeah, he did, and he got second, right?
He got second. Yeah.
Yeah.
He beat
I mean, everyone except Bladewise.
He beat everyone except Bladewise, but he beat someone like
he did beat someone
really good.
I know, you're right.
Who was it? Oh well, he beat Iceman.
I can look it up.
And someone else. Yeah, look it up.
What was it? Emerald City with Toussaint.
Yeah, just that should be good. Emerald City 6.
For those of you who are listening and not watching, I have a mouse.
Spud. It was Spud. That's who he beat.
It was Spud. Okay.
Yeah, who's just pretty good.
Yeah, Spud's good. I heard from Spud yesterday out of the blue. He was just like, "How do you pivot?" I was like, "Well, I flick the control stick."
I was supposed to interview Spud at Genesis, but it didn't go through.
All right, so he beat R2D and NMW 3-0 both. NMW beat Spud before then, and then. Oh yeah, Spud went on a run. I forgot. He 3-0'd Fat Goku, 3-1'd Moki.
Yeah, and R2D.
I'm gonna be honest. When I got my ballot for, you know where I'm going with this.
You said who was Moki?
He was the only person I didn't know.
Yeah.
Tafo actually sent me the list. He's like, these are the 125 players I'm thinking of having be eligible for the ballot. And he just wanted me to tell him if there's anything that stuck out to me. I was like, who's Moki? I'd never heard of him. I mean, now I know who he is.
Dude, he's good
to an extent. He beat Chu. I watched him. I watched the end of. What was it? I guess it was game 2. I think he 2-0'd Chu at Genesis.
He beat Chu while he was dying from the flu.
Really?
Yeah, he was. I mean, that was the Jenna sickness.
Yeah.
Everyone was.
I got sick too.
Dead. Yeah, Moki was walking around with a. I mean,
the
everyone
face mask.
just face mask on the whole time.
Shout outs to Coach Bobby who offered me one, so I didn't have any.
Okay, well, we talked about Full Bloom and what it means for a tournament like it to go so well. We said it went so well, but let's actually talk about the tournament and why it was so cool, because it was a fucking awesome tournament.
Yeah.
I mean, the marquee headline is that HBox won again.
Again, dude.
And it's crazy.
Okay, I have so many thoughts just on the whole HBox winning everything, because So I've hung out with HBox a few times, like during this streak. I've talked to him a little bit about it.
Yeah, and I interviewed him for that article during this streak.
Yeah, so. That's right. And he said you had like a really good summary of his stuff, right?
Thank you. Yeah.
So, plug for Zane, not Zane Marthflair's article.
Yeah.
On HBox. Where can they find that?
HTC
it's on
Esports.
HTC, right?
HTC Esports or esports.htc.com. I don't remember.
All right, just Google HTC Esports Hungrybox.
Yeah,
you'll find it. Yeah,
it'll come up.
So he's mentioned a few times how he doesn't practice, and he's like, I don't know, I'm just like winning, and I don't practice.
Yeah.
HBox, this is to you. You're entering a tournament every weekend, and you're winning, which means you're playing like 20 sets a weekend.
So this is
that counts. That counts as practice.
I actually got it. Speaking of that article, I got into a little argument with Duck over that article because the way I start that article,
naturally, as one gets into an argument with Duck,
the way I start that article is by being like, I did a comparison to a tennis player, Gael Monfils, who is like just naturally extremely gifted and crazy when he's on form, like the most athletic player by far, but he's never gotten that top level. And I was like, then there's people like Federer or Mango who when they play it, like you're like, holy shit, they eclipse what the game can even be. I can never be that
you
good.
Can't comprehend.
And so we want those people to win because in a way it's like, oh yeah, I could never do that. It's almost good because I understand that they just
are on another level.
They're just they
kind of give you an experience where you're on the verge of understanding,
right?
But it's just beyond like
right. So all that was a lead in to say, so what happens when someone who just puts their nose to the grindstone and just tries and eventually becomes the best and isn't that transcendent level of play gets the best? And that was HBox. And Duck was like, are you saying HBox works hard? And I was like, okay, come on, dude. And so I said, I was like, okay, like, I think that's a perception of him. I think that people think of Mango as the loose cannon who's naturally gifted and HBox as the hard worker, and that's what I was saying. Did you read the rest of the article? And Duck went,
No.
Laudandus just told me, and I was upset.
That's
I was
really
like,
funny.
Jesus Christ.
Shoutouts to Duck.
Shoutouts to Duck, though. I enjoyed talking to him.
That definitely is the perception. And I do want to qualify that with, you can't be top 5 in Melee without working your ass off.
Yeah, dude. And, like, I'm sure there's been... I do think it's interesting that HBox doesn't practice. It's not really true because he does go to a tournament every weekend. But also the way that he got to... He's also said many times that when he started his renaissance of becoming the best player in the world, it was because he just sat and grinded with Crunch for literally hours.
Yeah, he has
and
said
theory
that.
crafted. He did fucking grind.
Yeah.
Like... He did, and it was about perception. If you asked people about hard work, it would be... people think of HBox as that dude.
I think a lot of the HBox story is just like a series of things falling into place exactly how they need to. This is another thing that I talked to them about, where he literally said, if any aspect of Puff were any different at all, he doesn't think he'd be nearly as good as he is.
Yeah.
And you can see that being the case even if you took something about Puff and made it better.
Yeah, totally.
Right?
Totally.
Because you refocus how you prioritize, your move choice and what you're trying to go for in neutral. Like what if Puff's drill was a spike? Right? Like that'd be sick for Puff.
It would be sick for Puff. She'd be able to edge guard like the mix-ups from below Firefox is better. But HBox uses drill in neutral.
Yeah, to get grabs, to get up smash kills.
To poke.
Yeah,
even.
To poke.
He'll literally use it on shield to get a little stagger or a tumble and then tech chase after it.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Who's to say if Puff did have a spike on her dare that like Mango would have ever dropped Puff, or some other guy we never heard of happened to have his skill set line up so nicely with Puff's kit.
Let's be clear. Puff would be a better character if she had a spike. That's just we're not saying drill is better than if she had Falco Dare.
The point is just that Hungrybox's skill set and the way he approaches the game lines up with Puff's kit.
Yeah.
Like every tool that she has is just right for him as a player.
Yeah.
And it just works out for him.
I buy that.
You know?
I buy that.
Like Puff is who knows now? But Puff's not the best character, some would say. By the end of 2018, we might be having a different conversation.
Well, yeah. So you said you have been making these tweets a lot recently. Buy sell on characters. So you said buy Yoshi.
Yeah, buy Yoshi.
Buy Puff.
Yoshi is a long-term investment. Mm-hmm. Buy Yoshi for the next 5 years of Melee.
Buy Yoshi. Buy Puff. Buy Falco coming into next year.
Yeah, I don't think you should buy Falco right now.
Buy Marth.
I did not say buy
No.
Marth.
What did you say? You said sell. Who did you say to sell? Sheik?
I did say sell Sheik.
Yeah.
And pardon my coughing and sniffling at people who are listening. I've been sick all week because after Full Bloom, Lott and I were asleep by like 11:30. We were up at 3:30 in the morning.
Oof.
Because you have to take an hour drive to get to the airport. So we left at 4.
Yeah, that's a little. And
then I got to the airport at 5. Had my flight
Midwest
at 6:15. And then Ubered from LaGuardia to my apartment and walked straight from my apartment to work. So I've been sick all week because
I've done that before.
Because of that nonsense. Yeah. Anyways, we're talking about characters.
Yeah, sell Sheik, and you said sell one other person.
Oh man,
Peach.
What did I say? No, I did not say sell Peach. Oh boy,
who had you said to sell? I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. I did. I added buy Samus versus Puff.
Oh yeah, you did say that actually. Yeah. That's an interesting thing. But the important thing is you said buy Yoshi and buy Puff, and Full Bloom was sort of evidence of that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously HBox has been on top for a while, but we keep talking about how huge the gap is between HBox and the next best Puff, which for a long time has been Abu, who right now is virtually inactive.
Yeah, he's really busy with med school.
Yeah, really busy with med school and watching anime. Yeah. He doesn't have time for Melee.
He just net plays people in Chicago.
Between anime and med school, it's a lot.
But now, like, Toussaint, who ranked number 100, is not one of those players who is at that level and can't compete at a higher level. He's repeatedly shown that he can hold his own with, I mean, everyone always says from 50 to 100... It's just
a crapshoot.
It's a crapshoot.
It totally is, too.
It really is. He's beaten so many people. And then Michael, obviously, also not even ranked.
I know that firsthand. I played him. He beat me. Michael coming hot off of his National Arcadian win as well.
Where he didn't drop a game.
Did he not drop a game?
No, he didn't drop a game at the National Arcadian. And then he had his money match with Crunch.
Yeah.
Which was interesting because to me, it looked like Michael... I was talking to people about this. It wasn't even in the Leffen money match where he was like not care because he knew he would win. Because Leffen was trying to actively disrespect Chillin. Yeah. Michael just looked like, it's playing. Another set.
Yeah, he's just playing.
And Crunch looked really fucking nervous. And he tweeted afterwards about tournament nerves, but he looked like, I think, obviously nerves are a big part of playing any set, but Crunch was playing really bad.
So... everyone who was from the Midwest was telling me that Michael was going to take it, obviously.
Yeah.
And everyone who's not in the Midwest was saying, obviously, Crunch is going to win.
Yeah.
But I had my money on Michael. Shoot! I'm pretty sure I bet Zane, the other Zane. I'm pretty sure I bet him, and I think he owes me money. If you guys are listening to this, tell Zane he owes me money.
Call him out. Yeah. How much?
I think it was like $5 or $1 or something.
Okay.
But the reason I put my money on Michael was because I knew that Crunch did have like a history of struggling with some tournament nerves / anxiety.
Yeah.
Which is, it's a big thing. Like, you can be the master of a matchup on paper. Like, he knows Fox Puff better than anyone else at his skill level.
He's really good at that matchup, too. I've seen him destroy Puffs. I remember at Genesis 3. Yeah, in Genesis 3, immediately after I lost to Dudusai got, like, double 3-stocked by Crunch. And I was like...
He had a really close set with Aglet at SmashCon, too. And he ended up winning, I'm almost positive.
Yeah, he's good at the matchup. He definitely is.
So, I mean, it's really hard when you have all of the Michael fanboys...
Yeah.
Like, breathing down your neck in the middle of that.
But let's look at... Because the Puff players' wins were pretty nuts. Yeah. So, Toussaint beat Lucky and Mike Hayes. Dude.
Not only... Okay, so Toussaint got sent to losers by Lott.
Yeah.
In what I heard was a very close set.
I'm sure.
I did not watch it. It was recorded. It's probably on Melee every day by now.
Yeah.
So he lost 2-1 to LOD, then get sent to losers top 48 round 1. 3-0s Mike Hayes.
Yeah.
And I did see Mike Hayes warming up with Michael beforehand. 3-0s lucky.
Yeah.
And Toussaint was popping off at this one in particular. I asked him something. I don't remember what it was, but he was like, yo, I need to go find H-Box and tell him that I beat Lucky and say, like, Lucky's taking sets off you, and I just beat him.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
He was really happy.
Yeah. And then lost to Ginger, who had a great tournament also.
Dude, I actually just watched Ginger versus Axe today.
Yeah.
I hadn't watched it yet. And I really want to watch Ginger versus Toussaint because that's typically not an easy matchup.
For Falco?
Yeah, because most people have kind of given up on that matchup. And I know Ginger doesn't play Fox for Puff, right?
Ginger's a Falco
He's a Falco
devotee.
purist. He's the only Falco purist in the top 50.
Yeah.
He's, ranked like 48, 9 right now?
Something like that.
But the other Falcos in the top 50 are Santi, who plays Falco and Sheik, Westballs, who plays Falco and Fox, and Mango, who plays Falco and Fox. Mm-hmm. He's the only Falco main. Really.
Yep.
So shout outs to him for taking out those matches.
He
beats Pikachu and Puff and loses to Falcon.
I want to say he and King Momo are the only Falco purists in the top 100.
That could be true.
I think, because the only other Falcos I can think of are King Momo and Zoo. And Zoo plays Fox occasionally. He's more of a purist now these days. But he still goes Fox for Puff. I know that.
I need to watch Wizzy Ginger, too.
It was a good set.
I always see Falcon beating the Falcos, and I'm like, how?
But let's so then
Anyways,
Michael,
we're talking about Puff.
Yeah, Michael also beat you.
Yeah, so
tell us about that.
Let's see. So Michael I commentated Michael versus.
Oh yeah, I watched you commentate.
Yeah,
that set was close, dude.
That set was close, dude. So you watched me commentate it. Did you hear the part in the set where I was like, this is where Nunn takes the set?
Yeah.
And then he took the set.
Yeah.
Because Michael had so much momentum going against Nunn. I don't remember exactly how the games played out, like in what order they won.
Yeah,
But there was a period where they were on Stadium and the rock transformation came up and neither of them approached. And I was like, this decision to not approach favors Nunn so heavily because Nunn is going to take this time to brush off the nerves and the fact that the Michael fanboys are surrounding him.
Yep.
And he's going to be like, I'm Nunn, I'm a sick Falcon, I'm just going to win this set. And then he did. Yeah. So there's a lot of weird like top player upset mentality things that you have to consider when you think about whether or not you want to like play it by the book or keep fighting.
Well, when so Michael's one of those players where it's hard to tell whether he might have that mentality against a top player. How did you feel when playing him mentality wise? Did you go Fox, by the way?
I went all Marth against him.
You went all Marth.
Yeah, I pretty much never go Fox against Puff because I have thought that I'm the Marth Puff master, and then I lost to Michael.
Right. That was your rise to fame way back when.
Yeah, that's
beating
true.
H-Box
I
on
beat
Netplay.
H-Box. I'm pretty sure I'm positive on Michael on Netplay too. So since I'm positive on him on his home domain, I'll take that
he would beat you on
yeah. But honestly, like I was really impressed with him. Like I couldn't be too salty with it afterwards because I felt like I was playing okay. In game 1 on the last stock, I did SD, and that was frustrating. But I felt like me as a player, I rallied from it relatively well, so I don't really blame that for the loss. His drift is just like so much better than the other Puffs that I've played, and not to slight Toussaint, but like
drift.
I've played Toussaint. I played him in 2 tournament sets in the 2 weeks prior to Full Bloom. Yeah, and I beat him both times. One of them, I beat him 3-1, where I dropped a game as Fox, and then the other time was 3-2, and it was really, really close.
Well, if you want to talk about opposing playstyles, Michael and Toussaint are like, I think people can sometimes think of Puff as just being one thing, but
they're really different.
Those two players are so different. Yeah. Toussaint is, I feel like it's always a stereotype when someone says like, take normally not aggressive character and call them aggressive, but
yeah,
Two is really fucking aggressive.
Yeah, for the most part, definitely. Yeah. So I mean, it was a very cool experience to just fight another style of Puff, and it kind of like I never feel that bad about a matchup where I'm like there were mix-ups that I was not playing that I need to learn how to play better. Yeah. So props to Michael for that
and then
set.
beat K-Pan, who also had a good tournament.
K-Pan beating that Yoshi. I was telling you this before we started recording. I was like, there's a chance I'm gonna have to fight a Yoshi.
So that's the other buy was Yoshi because not just because of Amsa, who had an amazing tournament, almost qualified for that summit spot.
Dude, yeah.
That ended up going to SFAT and None.
Yeah.
But he unfortunately had to face Wizrobe, who has been somewhat of a demon for him.
Yeah. Except at Genesis.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm definitely biased for AMSA because VGBC.
So here's some. So this touches onto a lot of topics I wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
So first of all, Yoshi, Grandma's Got Game also got 33rd, and who did he upset? Cal. He beat Cal, right?
He must have done it to get. Yeah, he did to get into losers bracket.
Yeah, he beat Cal.
Cal lost to. This is a stacked pool, man. They got Wizzy, Bladewise, and Cal.
Yeah.
And that's a different Jerry. I was like, what?
Yeah, that was been weird.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, so Grandma's Got Game, and then Amsa had that crazy set against Mango.
Oh, don't even. Yeah.
And he also destroyed Pew Pew You.
I think for the first time.
Since Pew Pew really devoted time to his Fox,
Yeah, because Amsa has definitely considered Pew Pew to be one of his demons. He posted on Facebook about it. He was like, I have to fight Pew Pew, one of my demons, tomorrow.
Right.
And he's like, I'm going to beat him.
Yeah.
And then he just did.
Yeah, and everyone's talking about how Amsa's arguably a top 10 player, and I think
for sure, yeah.
It's
he was a top 6-7 seed, maybe even higher.
He was. I was actually talking to Jack about that because we were theorizing what it would take for Amsa to win the tournament.
Yeah.
And
he could have won any of these brackets.
There are worlds in which he wins the tournament.
Yeah.
Actually.
I don't even think H-Box is unbeatable for him.
Yeah, it's definitely the hardest matchup, but other than that.
But yeah.
This is a meme. Fendi actually shouted me out on commentary and was like, I wish Ipengu was here so he could talk about Yoshi frame data. I've spent a lot of time playing against Yoshi in my day, and so I know a lot about him and like to talk about him.
That's funny.
And Falcon has historically been one of Yoshi's hardest matchups.
Yeah.
And that's because that's for a lot of things. The most surface level reason that people think is like, oh, he breaks super armor really early, which is true, but there's actually a lot more to it than that. After down throw, so down throw knee isn't guaranteed on Yoshi.
Yep.
Yoshi can double jump out or air dodge out. Mm-hmm. But that is a terrible situation for Yoshi afterwards.
Okay.
Because if he knees, he falls to the ground. He's taken 18%. Knee does so much damage.
Yeah.
And then Falcon just grabs him again, pretty much.
Yep.
And if he air dodges out, then you're Yoshi floating in the air above Falcon, and that's not really great either.
Yeah.
So as long as the Falcon just does the knee and immediately gets back to ground, it's still really good. The other thing is that a big part of a really helpful thing against Yoshi, and this is something Falco can actually struggle with, is once Yoshi shields, if he shields and he didn't beat you with a parry or something, he's so fucked.
Yeah.
Because he has to grab or roll.
Yeah.
Or spot dodge. That's literally all he can do.
Yep.
And so it's actually sometimes hard with Falco because what actually happens with Yoshi, I saw someone said something incorrect about this on commentary. They said, I think he has extra invincibility frames on his roll. That's not true. What actually happens is Yoshi turns into a ball about this big. His hitbox when he rolls, it just becomes really hard to hit.
For people who are listening, it's a small ball.
Yeah, it's a really small ball. I'm making a little circle with my hand, but it's like the size of his fist, basically. The hitbox.
That's so funny.
Yeah, so like what I do a lot of the time is if Yoshi rolls as Falco, I dash attack it or something.
Okay.
And as long as they don't crouch cancel it, it's pretty fine. But what's really good with Falcon is if Yoshi's shielding against Falcon, given that he wants to get grabs, and if Yoshi rolls, it's not hard at all to chase the roll and grab it.
Right.
It's just really good. There's so many good things. But that's a big part of why when we see 3 Falcons in top 8 and Amsa, you're like,
oh, poor Amsa.
Well, shit.
I coached him at Summit in the fall.
Right, yeah.
And that was one of the big things we worked on was Falcon, Yoshi, and we played a bunch of friendlies. And I did so much better than I had any right to be doing against him with my Falcon. Mm-hmm. And I know since then he said he's worked with his coach in Japan on that matchup pretty hard.
Who's his coach? Is it San?
I don't know. I know San, but I don't know if that's his coach.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Okay.
But I don't want to misinform people, so I'm not sure.
Beats me.
But yeah, after doing that work, that's when he beat Wizzy at Genesis.
Yeah.
But alas, he's not quite at the level where he's beating Falcon consistently yet. That matchup is terrible.
Yeah.
It's so hard.
So here's the thing, too, is that Wizrobe has a tendency recently to lose matches he's not supposed to in winners, and then make really crazy losers runs.
Yeah.
It happened when he lost to L.
Yep, I remember.
It happened arguably at this tournament with losing to None, which, that could go either way, but Wizzy's the Falcon Ditto master, and then he beat him in losers.
Dude, I actually warmed Wizzy up in one game for Falcon Ditto before he played Johnny. I'm just gonna shout out my own combo. Or no, it was for the None rematch.
Okay.
I hit him with down tilt.
Yeah.
Into dash attack, and then I grabbed ledge and I kneed him, and he died. So
okay,
my Falcon's pretty sick.
That's sick, man.
Just putting that out there. Anyways, you were saying.
Yeah, I just think it's interesting that Wizzy has a history of underperforming in winners bracket and then just being like, I'm better than everyone.
Yeah.
I have to lose twice to be out, remember?
After losing game 5 in like a 1 or 2 stock scenario, he 3-1'd None in losers losers quarters before getting 3-0'd by
Mego, who
possibly his biggest demon.
Doesn't drop games to Falcons.
Yeah.
So, but Wizzy's amazing and has really proved that he's there's you can divide the top 10 below Plup into 2 tiers these days too.
Yeah.
And I guess is Wizzy like really the only person in his own tier right now? Arguably, it used to be like it was Wizzy and like Axe maybe and Plup, but now it's like Wizzy's better than SFAT and Amsa and Axe, like in terms of record.
I think there's an argument for Axe in that tier.
Yeah. But Axe after really bad.
After Full Bloom, it's hard to say that.
Yeah.
Having lost to Ginger and
I really hope Axe does better soon because he made some sad posts and I was like, oh.
Yeah, I think I saw him like the next day. He's like, I'm feeling better now.
That's good.
Dude, I responded to his side tweet and I said, you got this, man. You're the best Melee player by far. And like, to an extent, like it's so true.
It is, yeah.
How is he?
He plays Pikachu.
Not only is he the only Pikachu in the top 100, but he's top 8 with him, right?
Yeah, it's nuts.
X is on another level. I also want to say that I call myself the Iron Man Master.
Right.
So, 5 characters versus 5 characters.
Axe is
I've
actual.
only lost to Axe.
Yeah.
And we rematched this weekend and he beat me again.
Yeah.
Handily.
He's crazy.
And I've beaten Laud, my brother, before.
Mm-hmm.
And Laud was like, oh, Axe, I want to Iron Man you. And he's like, okay, sure. I was like, you're going to get so destroyed. My brother won by 7 stocks.
Wait, what?
Yeah. He beat Axe in an Iron Man by 7 stocks.
That actually almost makes sense to me.
I was just
because
Peach I'm so mad because I got bodied
Peach is a
3
character
times.
that could be a roadblock for Axe. I feel like
he didn't use Peach to beat the Pikachu.
What did he use?
He beat the Pikachu with Fox and Falco.
Jesus Christ.
And he said his Peach basically beat all the other characters.
That's what I think.
Yeah.
That's the thing I was
he
thinking
beat,
about. Yeah.
I think he said he destroyed the Marth and Young Link with Peach.
Yeah. See those are not that's not what Axe pulls out. Those characters.
And he didn't use Sheik.
Maybe Young Link.
And I think it was like Sheik, Peach, Fox, Falco, and I guess probably Marth. I don't know who he used Marth for, but he beat him by 7 stocks.
What's Axe's 5th character?
Made me question my identity as an Iron Man master. Axe always goes
Pikachu, Young Link,
Falco, Marth, Ices. He has
Ices, of course. Yeah, I know that. Cool.
Yeah, those are pretty solidly his best 5.
Yeah. I think that about wraps it up for our... Oh, no, the one other thing I wanted to say about Full Bloom, just a brief shout out because I was watching from home. Like I said about Yoshi commentary, Brandon said some really, really good stuff about Yoshi. Go and watch that. First of all, if you haven't watched that Mango Amsa set yet, it's like a contender for set of the year easily.
I don't know what to say about it.
It's actually insane.
Yeah.
But Brandon said some really, really smart stuff that goes against what people usually think about that matchup.
Yeah.
The one thing I disagree with him is he said lasers aren't that good in this matchup, which I just think is blatantly false.
Okay.
I can see why Yoshi has a really easy time power shielding because of his low profile and crouching.
Yep.
And he can, but you can't actually double jump through lasers. That's just not how the matchup plays out usually.
Yeah. Anytime I like short hop near Yoshi with Falco, I'm just afraid of getting down tilted.
Yeah.
But obviously, you just...
Yes.
Yeah.
It's so great. Fucking fixed knockback move.
Yeah.
But the two things that I really want to point out that he said that were great, and they happened so immediately after he said them, like it happened in game. He was like, I actually think Yoshi's might be low-key Falco's best stage in this matchup because Amsa took Mango to Yoshi's, and I've for a while thought that I don't think it's his best. I think FD is still theoretically the best stage against Yoshi, but the being able to kill off the top is so useful.
True.
And Falco gets Marthritis against Yoshi at certain percents.
Not having to edge guard him.
Not having to edge guard him,
which you just can't do anyways.
Yeah. But and then the other thing he said is Mango was doing a shine combo that he went for an up air instead of a down air at the end of the combo, and Brandon called that out as being really good because Yoshi can have a hard time getting down. But also one of the reasons that Yoshi's story is so good against Yoshi sometimes is Yoshi is the perfect weight to get shine up air, and you stuff so much of Yoshi's approach options with crouch cancel shine, it just kills him at 95%. Like he just dies from it. Yeah, he just dies from it. It's a true combo and he dies.
That's insane. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Shine up air is really, really good. It's because he's like feels the same to combo like the Marios almost, and that it works on them too.
Yeah.
So yeah. But that I think about does it for Full Bloom.
Yeah, Full Bloom. It was a fun event. A lot of crazy things happening. A good showing from Midwest for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess Absent Page got 9th, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, Absent Page had sort of a crazy bracket.
Yeah.
He benefited from some upsets. he played like Rick for 9th, which was crazy because Rick got the Why did Rick have an easy bracket?
Okay, so HT beat Crush.
HT beat Crush, Rick beat HT, and so Rick made winner's side top
48,
yeah,
which is top 24.
Yeah, so
he lost to S2J 3-0.
Yeah.
But Absent Page still 3-2'd Ryan Ford.
Yeah.
3-2 Gatsu and 3-2 Lod.
Yeah, those are all pretty amazing.
Pretty
amazing.
And I know Lod was frustrated with that win because Lod typically he hasn't played Junebug a lot recently, but he's played Junebug a lot.
Yeah. And Absent Page went Sheik for that. So.
I didn't see Absent Page versus Ryan Ford or Gatsu. Did he play Fox against them both?
I have no idea. Someone said to me, I think half as a joke, after Absent Page lost to Ginger, he was like, Fox sucks. I know he played Sheik against Amsa.
Really?
Yeah.
And that's where he took a game?
Yeah.
Interesting.
He played Fox against Rick, though.
Okay. So he beat Rick in the Fox Ditto.
Yeah.
Word. Yeah. I think he played Lod when Lod went to the Midwest like a month or two ago and lost once or twice with Fox. So that's probably why he tried Sheik this time.
I know, not to disrespect your brother or anything, but Laudandus thinks that Laud has holes in the Sheik matchup that when he played him, so...
He thinks what?
That Laud has holes in the Sheik matchup.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
He did lose to him, but...
Yeah. Till Laudandus lost a lot.
Yeah, Laudandus lost a lot, so... But it was interesting.
Yeah. Anyways, that's a whole other discussion.
Yeah.
Sheik Peach.
You want to talk about the Mike Ross AMA?
Yeah.
So...
That's big news in across esports.
Across esports. It's so interesting. So for those of you who haven't read, you should definitely go check out, because it's really interesting, Mike Ross's AMA. It is on R Kappa, so not safe for work.
Be careful out there, especially if you're a Smash player. You tread lightly.
Yeah, exactly. But Mike Ross did an AMA. Mike Ross, if you don't know, was one of the most prominent commentators in the FGC, content creators. He had a show with Gootex called Mike Ross and Gootex Excellent Adventures, where it is what the Reads is. The Reads is directly inspired by it.
And they all are aware.
Yeah. It was originally on Cross Counter, so Mike Ross originally made the Reads a thing too. And then he's just sort of disappeared for the past year and a half. A lot of people are like, it's because he thinks Street Fighter V sucks, and as he revealed in the AMA,
think that.
He said is one of the worst fighting games I've ever played.
Yeah.
But the reason you should read it if you're a Smasher is because he brought up a lot of stuff that I know our scene is thinking about right now too, and that we sort of talked about at the beginning.
So we're bringing this full circle now.
Yeah, with how esports can be fake, can be too much about the money, too much about appearances and stuff. And he has a lot of really interesting stuff to say. I know one of my friends, Mike Ross, said that I was trying to make the FGC a bit blacker and like make it a place where, you know, like black voices could be the forefront of the community, and people didn't want that. So it was interesting. But I have a lot of people have taken it to be like, oh man, esports is killing the FGC.
Right. Yeah.
So it's interesting.
Yeah, it's never gonna go away. I think is the issue of Grassroots versus esports.
Yeah,
especially no, not even just for the people who grew up in the quote unquote Grassroots era.
Yeah,
but any player who has joined since then will always be hearing about it, in a way, you know. And that's especially true for Smash because so many of the new players joined after the release of the Smash documentary,
right?
Which basically documents, you know, the core of the Grassroots Smash experience.
Yeah, I know Blur and Barrett Womack, who does Red Bull esports stuff. We're talking specifically about the Smash documentary as like in relation to this conversation, in relation to how people like. Blur was saying, I wish people would start shouting stuff out as good just because it has high production value, just because it's esports.
Right.
And it's not actually good content.
I saw him say that, yeah.
And he was talking about, you know, like Samox's documentary as an example of something that does not admittedly actually have that good production value. It's obviously...
It's relative to what we see as, you know, people who are just playing a game.
Yeah, but is good content. I feel like a lot of the AMA too, though, a lot of the time I was just like, Mike Ross, why are you so sad?
Yeah.
There were parts of it that were just really alienating to me. I mean, like, there's specifically one part where he says, someone asked him if he still hangs out with Gootex, and he's like, me and Gootex are still, like, he's one of my best friends, but I don't have time to hang out with people anymore. I'm old. If we're together, we've got to be making something. And that to me was just like,
I saw that.
I don't know, like, obviously I want to be making stuff with people. That's why we're here doing this podcast right now. But that's so sad to me. And I don't know, maybe I'm too young to get it. He said it's because he's old. I mean, like, but I think you need a balance. And the other thing is that it's so interesting because I think it reveals a layer to something that Mike Ross was saying that a lot of people didn't get, which is I don't think he was just saying esports is bad, because when you think of someone who always wants to be working, like on the grind, making, like, that's esports in a way, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's an esports mentality of we gotta keep growing and making shit, right?
Yeah.
So I don't think he was saying esports is bad. It's just what esports has become
is not what he envisioned while he was creating.
Yeah, that sums it up perfectly, I think.
Yeah.
And that's totally real. I think that makes sense. That's why we're so excited to see Full Bloom do well.
Yeah. It's all completely about perception, right? Like, I feel like there are so many spaces within the fighting game community and within the Smash community, and And a lot of people, I think, mistakenly believe that what they're seeing is all that there is, especially if you're participating in the community through solely online channels, for example.
Yeah.
Like if you and for the record, like I know this has been a pretty hot topic recently, is like, what is Reddit's place in the Smash community? You know, for the record,
it's a weird one.
It is a weird topic, right? When I woke up and I saw one of the headlines on Reddit was something along the lines of like, "We are part of the community. We will not be silenced."
Yeah, dude.
My god. I thought I just thought it was hilarious for one thing, and I'm not discrediting those feelings. I just thought that post in particular was hilarious. But I do want to say, so I started playing Smash competitively and engaging with the scene in 2005 October.
Yeah.
So I was really young. Me and my brother were both young. We were 11 and 10
Yep.
at that time, and we were easily the youngest people, at least in our local scene, MDVA, at that time. And pretty much all of our involvement was maybe a handful of tournaments throughout the years. Like some years maybe just 2 or 3.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously we're young, you know, our parents don't necessarily want us traveling to these tournaments.
Totally.
And definitely not anything outside of the region. You know, we were blessed that we had Pound throughout those years. Like we went to Pounds 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Yeah.
As
Dang.
kids. But if I had Twitch and Reddit at that point, like I would have gone nuts. You know, because I was posting a lot on Smashboards, and Smashboards as a channel through which you're communicating with people, just like the traditional forum experience is just so terrible.
I love forums.
I mean, I love
so much.
like, don't get me wrong, like Smashboards is my first home.
Yeah.
You know.
No,
but,
I know what you mean.
But like the format of communicating with people on Reddit and Twitch is just so much better than
I don't know though.
Smashboards.
I actually think one of the things that Reddit does, I think actually, I've been thinking about this for a while. So a forum, when you read a thread, when you read even just a forum,
I see where you're going with this.
It's linear.
Yeah, it's chronological.
It's chronological, and it's very easy to follow conversation.
Yeah.
And so I think it's actually tied up to why we're making this podcast in terms of like having things
Yeah,
follow
you're right.
a linear record.
We might not need this if we were still on Smashboards.
Yeah, dude.
Everyone would be on the same page.
I actually think that's almost a little true, because Reddit, in a really sort of fascinating way, doesn't care about time at all. The way you read a Reddit thread is not organized by time.
Democracy rules.
But you can make it so democracy rules if you go to most upvoted, or you can make it so that time rules technically. Not even though that, because even then
it's the newest.
Threaded comments will be different, so you're still not actually seeing what's a real progression of time. But if you're looking at hot, which is the default Reddit algorithm, it's not democracy either. It's an algorithm.
Right?
It's an algorithm that takes into account democracy.
Yeah,
but
some level of democracy, some level of recency, like some level of like at what rate they're getting upvotes.
Yeah, with some level of some other stuff too, I think.
Of course.
Like in terms of length of comment and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's hard to say, and I'm not like, I don't think Reddit's algorithm is bad. That's probably the best way to organize comments, but
well, that's just, you know, how we consume information when there's too much information to us for us to consume all at once.
Right.
Because like I agree that if we were seeing all this information chronologically, you know, everyone would be on the same page, but it's so much more work just to get everyone to read every person's comment chronologically, so you're always reading in context.
But dude, real talk, that's why Facebook is the place where is perceived as the place where people who actually play Smash go to talk about the game.
Yeah.
Because it's the closer thing to Smashboards. It still has nested comments, but when you look at a Facebook comment on a thread, it's still chronological.
Yeah.
The likes don't have a bearing on the order you see things.
True.
So I think that's actually a big part of why, aside from its obvious like uses for organizing, Facebook has become like is the home of a lot of Smash discussion too.
I'm not sure if I agree that the organization of comments on Facebook is why, you're right, it is more of the hub for people who are actually attending events.
Yeah.
But I think and I could be wrong, but my feeling on like why that is the case is because it's
linked to
it's more intimate, it's more personal,
right?
Like the people who are in your local scene, like you're Facebook friends with them, you have a Facebook event,
and because you RSVP to the event and then you post a comment in the page,
and to an extent it could be both, because you also have this sort of event organization through Smash GG, but there's no social aspect of Smash GG, right? Yet.
We'll see.
Yeah.
But it's
how many more social media outlets do we need?
It's interesting. I think Reddit's weird. I don't know. I just don't like when people are like, oh, people on Reddit don't play Smash, just because it's in large part not true, and it's so funny because the subreddit founders and mods are like Taffakins and Coffee Black
and Nintendo.
So it's like,
for sure.
But then I saw a poll a while ago, and it was like, so many people on the subreddit don't go to tournaments at all. It's so funny.
Like the only time I have and I actively read the Reddit typically. I did not read it at all while I was at Full Bloom last weekend, and I felt so much better for not doing it. That's just a competitor's mindset, though, right?
Yeah.
But like typically, I enjoy the fact that there is a Reddit. Like I read through it. I just get annoyed when there's a piece of misinformation that affects me or someone I know personally, and their perception as a player, and then it gets democratically upvoted by other people who are similarly misinformed or similarly biased. So the example that comes to mind was like, I'm pretty sure this was on Reddit, but someone saying something about like, Absent Page beating Laud with a secondary, and it had like 20 upvotes or something. And I was like, there's no context to this comment, and it's getting a lot of upvotes by, Midwest people who are rightfully fans of their player. But that doesn't take into context the fact that Laud beat his main character twice.
Right.
Once or twice. I don't remember exactly, but I know that happened.
Yeah.
And that's just like a minor example, but there are definitely other cases of a similar magnitude and worse. And that's where I'm like, this is where the democratic system of Reddit fails, because you don't have people fact checking all the time, especially for smaller things like that. But I think that's certainly a minority of Reddit users and Reddit upvoters. I think for the most part, like, it's a good way to disseminate information, and I think it's a good place to like engage in conversation. Like I've been writing for Dignitas recently, and I kind of lead people to the Reddit threads.
It's the place where content proliferation happens. This is going to be... if you see this, chances are...
It's from Reddit,
You saw it from our Twitter, or you saw it from our Reddit.
Yeah.
Like, that's probably it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's something to think about.
Definitely.
Do you want to just do the blur thing, because we're running low on time?
Yeah, sure.
We can just plug your article.
Sure.
So going along with, I think this links again really well with what we were just talking about esports, and we mentioned Blur already. But so Blur recently, there was this tweet where someone was like, I was watching a Smash tournament with my girlfriend. After watching video game tournaments with me for the last 4 months, my girlfriend says the Smash commentators need to step their game up. And then, why aren't they talking about the game? Are they even taking this seriously? I'm not listening anymore. I can't. Y'all are killing me, lol.
Shoutouts to Brian and his girlfriend.
Yeah. Shoutouts to
Brian is
_what is fear. That's a whole thing.
I don't know, man. Yeah. That next podcast, we're going to talk about what fear is.
Yep.
Anyways.
But so Blur replied to it.
Yeah.
And Blur went...
He said, I've been asked a lot why I've stopped Smash casting, and this is why. I just got fed up with the lack of effort I saw in my colleagues and got tired of working with mismanaged events/productions. I care too much and hate casting from a seat of disappointment. And this was followed up by him saying, now, I love Smash far too much to give up on it, but I'm hoping my absence will give way to new blood who will change the culture. It's just not a good place for me to grow as a caster, and I'd gladly come back if I feel the conditions have changed.
Yeah, so I think this ties in really neatly. And I don't want to belabor this point because Blur talked about this on Commentator's Curse.
Yeah.
He's made it apparent that, like, I don't know. I think the phrasing of this tweet wasn't the best. And it's just, like, puts a lot of onus on other commentators to, like, be the ones to step up because Blur can't do it anymore. And I had my gripes about that, but I don't want to just like shit on Blur for saying that. It's just, I have some issues with it. What I think is more interesting about it is in terms of talking about the esports versus non-esports conversation we just had.
Yeah.
Where if, like, for every person who says, oh, they're not even talking about the game, there are so many people who, when Smash commentators go for the esports route, they're like, this is dumb, this is fucking awful.
Yeah.
Like, I personally think that Fendi is a pretty good commentator. He's gotten way better at commentary. But even if you disagree with me, you can't deny that the place he's coming from, and he said this in a reply to this, the place Fendi's coming from is trying to be professional.
Yeah. And
you can dislike that if you want. I understand why that might not be the type of commentary you like.
Yeah.
But it's interesting that it's so much in our scene especially.
Yeah. People
really cannot want that.
It's super interesting because, like, people love... They love being entertained, but they don't love being entertained by everyone.
Yeah.
A lot of times it's like you're looking for a specific caster, and no matter what they do, you'll be happy. And vice versa to an extent. I don't know. It's such a difficult place to be right now, to be a commentator, because especially for the people who have been doing it for a while, because I feel like expectations are changing much more quickly right now than they have been in the past.
Yeah.
And like, even being friends with a lot of current, like, primary commentators, like, I still find myself muting a lot of the time. And that's mostly for, like, content. Like, I'm hearing myself misinformed far more frequently than I want to be.
Yeah, it's so interesting too, because I will say, like, this is a hard topic. I'm getting a little trepidatious talking about it because I don't want to piss anyone off. And I really do think, I don't dislike, like, any Melee commentators. I really do think
same.
that the commentators I'm about to say need to do better
names
are my favorite commentators. So, like, when Blur is talking about people needing to do better, the people who are a lot of the time saying misinformation are the people who have been commentators in the scene as our top commentators for a really long time.
Yeah.
Like, Scar is the most obvious example.
Shout outs to Scar.
He makes it work.
Scar's my boy.
He makes it work even when he's not...
Shout outs to town. Sorry.
No, it's not good. He makes it work even when he's not, like, on the top of his game. But then I remember at the last summit, I was tuning in, and I had Scar and Toph at the top of their game are my favorite commentators, bar none. I think they're fucking amazing.
Yeah.
And I had been like, oh, you know, Scar's been not that great recently. And I tuned into Summit, and Scar was actually, like, bringing shit up that was correct and bringing up really interesting discussion points. I remember this. And I was like...
There were a couple tournaments where, like, his commentary was just, like...
What's happening?
Was just, like, right and entertaining all the time.
And it was so good.
And he tweeted about it, too, right?
He did. He was like, thank you for noticing. I made a concerted effort.
He worked hard for it, yeah.
So, but it's interesting that those... I said interesting so much. It's really just... it's something to think about, that those people who are our historically lauded commentators are frequently the ones who actually don't know that much. Because the commentators who are trying to be on the come up are usually not the ones who are going to be blatantly spewing misinformation, because they care so much.
Yeah.
And I say this as someone who was, like, trying to do commentary for a while and now just does it every once in a while. But people who are trying to actually be on the come up, like Fendi or Jackzilla, they care so much about being a good commentator that, trust me, they're doing their research all the time.
And I know that Fendi, I know for a fact that if Fendi doesn't know, like, the intricacies of something that happens on screen, like, he's not going to make a statement about it.
That's why why he was like, I wish Zane was here to tell me Yoshi frame data.
He will comment on what happened, and he will do his thing and move on.
Yeah.
He won't speculate. That's actually my biggest pet peeve with commentary. And this is not really an issue with the top commentators. This is more like your local up and coming commentator, where they will speculate on something a top player is doing. And you can probably tell that this has happened to me watching my own sets, where it's like, it happened especially while I was like playing Fox at a tournament recently, and they're like, oh, like he misspaced that grab. He must have thought he was playing Marth. Like trying to rationalize my misspacing my grab by saying that
That's funny.
I was used to Marth's grab range.
Okay.
And I was like, no, you can't say that.
See, I'm glad you gave that clarifying example, because I was going to disagree with you, because I think that there are ways to speculate that are really, really good on commentary.
Yeah.
I think it's actually the thing Scar is the best at. If you listen to Scar and Toph at the top of their game, a lot of the time what Scar does is he asks Toph a question that will let Toph say the simple answer for people who don't know the simple interaction.
Yeah.
And then Scar chimes in with the complexity, and you're like, oh, he knew all along.
Yeah.
He knew what was happening.
Yeah, there are definitely ways to like entertain and educate while you're doing that kind of stuff.
Yeah, Slime also actually is really good at it.
And I guess there's a difference between like speculation slash oh man, there's another word I'm thinking of that's slightly different. Just like posing questions, you know?
Yeah.
Because like you can speculate and then state your opinion as fact and move on.
Yeah, totally.
There are a lot of times where people will like make a definitive claim and then kind of move from there.
That's the thing that when I was listening to Slime's commentary, where he was trying to do more serious commentary at Full Bloom for a little bit.
Yeah.
I think with like Jackzilla.
How did that go?
It was good.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he can he's like charismatic and affable, so he can do play-by-play and stuff.
I believe it.
It's good for him to be known as like Slime plays Melee, dude. Like he cares about the game, you know, he does. But one of the things he said was like, I don't remember exactly the situation, but he said that looks really hard for X character to deal with. I don't really know what he would do to beat it, but I've noticed that looks really frustrating. And I was like, yeah,
that sounds totally fair to me.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, if something looks hard to the average or above average Melee player, then you can say it looks hard to deal with.
Yeah,
you don't need to know like every intricate mix-up involved with that scenario.
It's something that I've talked to people about beforehand. I think that actually Melee is really easy to understand up to a level if you do play the game.
Yeah.
Like there are things that are really complex mechanical interactions.
Yeah.
That your average Melee player would glean pretty immediately what was going on. Like at least someone who does go to tournaments and play frequently.
Yeah.
And that's obviously not always the average viewer, but like a lot of the time, the actual mechanical interactions of smash DIing something or like that sort of stuff is actually pretty easy to understand.
Yeah.
It's really the mental stuff that's when you notice when a top player comes in and actually is like, this is what they're thinking and this is the mix-up that's been going on.
And honestly, that's what I want out of my commentary, which I don't know if I think my standards for that are too high or not. Because I know that it's possible because I've seen it done. I think, I don't want to toot my own horn, I think I do it myself when I commentate. I think a couple of the commentators I've seen that are amazing at this are Phil. Rip Phil's commentary, because he's not commentating anymore.
Check out my interview with Phil about how he quit commentary.
More power to Phil. You know, I want him to do whatever he wants to do. And he still streams and does analysis on his streams.
Yeah, actually watch his stream. He's easily aside from like Mango Armada analysis streams, like Phil is the best analysis you can get.
He analyzes a lot of sets too, so
that's why it's the quality of he really is focused on doing it.
So Phil for sure, and Deep One. I actually really like D1's analysis because I feel like a lot of times like I'm noticing something that most people aren't, and he just kind of points it out like casually while his co-commentator is like,
I agree, dude. I think I was talking to someone about this the other day, I won't say who actually, but I have a lot of respect for D1. Yeah. I think D1 got unfairly maligned by the community.
When people like, you know, are giving him a hard time when he's commentating Melee, it's like, how about you actually listen to what he's saying, because he's better than 99% of commentators.
I think he did have a period where he was not my favorite commentator.
Yeah.
And it was when he first was trying to do both Melee and Smash, which was when he last commentated Melee pretty much. And then since then he's come back a few times and been really good. But I wasn't feeling it that much then, but it's really interesting that D1 became the commentator people thought had no game knowledge, because
oh man, he has so much knowledge.
If you remember D1 in Prague, they had a really, really interesting balance, I think, actually, where if you had to do color versus play-by-play, D1 absolutely the play-by-play, Prague absolutely the color. Like, there's no question about that. But the other thing is that Prague would be the storyline guy. And he would be the broad strokes thing. And when it came to actually breaking down an interaction and what had happened in a moment, D1 was the guy who did that.
Yeah.
He did the gameplay analysis, like, actually a lot of the time.
He picked up on little things that, you know, a lot of our current commentators won't necessarily. And, you know, no shade to our current commentators. Those are just... No, those are just things that I've noticed and things that I look for personally.
Yeah, I love D1. Also, this is just, I tell everyone this. If you ever are at a party with D1 and there is a GameCube there, play him in Melee. Especially if you don't like D1, because if you're the average Melee player who thinks D1 sucks, I think you're probably worse than him in Melee.
Yeah, he's good.
Also,
he gets so serious, too.
I think you also probably do not know what type of Melee player D1 is.
Yeah.
He is the fucking craziest fox I've ever played against in my... I say this... Like, I've played against a lot of good foxes, like top 100 level foxes. Cyrox is the only one who even comes close to being as just balls to the wall insane as D1. And it's not like he is sort of dumb sometimes because he just goes for absolute style.
He entered a tournament in the past couple of years, like a Melee tournament. And I remember seeing the VODs and like he looks like he's about to just, you know, I don't know.
There are rare times...
He has murder face on.
There are rare times when D1 streams Melee, and I remember one of the first D1 Melee streams, not first, but one of the first ones I watched like 3 years ago, and it's him and McCain, and he's just like beating McCain. And that's when McCain was like top 15 in the world, and I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah. D1 is clearly a god.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think that's our ending.
Yeah,
thing
that's a good
D1's a fucking god.
Spot as any.
I always, whenever I'm at a party with D1, I play Melee with him. He's one of my favorite people in the world to play. Him and Nunn are the two people I think I have had the most fun ever playing.
Yeah, I believe it.
Yeah.
D1's also just a nice guy. If anyone's ever got, you know, questions about what he does or Smash, like he's always, at least with me, he's always been open and willing to talk about stuff. So
yeah,
thanks for killing PM, D1. We'll end it on that. Just kidding. It was Gimmer that killed PM.
Yeah.
Anyways,
that does it for our first episode.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening. Sorry if you watched all the way through. There probably were some technical difficulties.
Yeah, there are definitely a couple.
We're gonna see how I edit that together, but I'm guessing it's gonna involve using
multiple camera angles
and multiple audio files too, which is why we did this for our first episode.
Yeah, we'll
next time it'll be better.
We'll
That's
have
our
this
promise
down for next time.
But plugs, I guess, is how we'll end it.
Yeah, follow us on Twitter. You can follow this guy at Ipengu.
Yeah, you can also follow my YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/c/Ipengu. It's just the channel name is Ipengu. I post interviews with players there. I did an interview with Rishi that you can watch.
Yep.
I had an interview with Phil, like I said, with hacks, bunch of stuff. You can watch all of that.
Yeah.
And also check out my writing on HTC Esports, I guess.
Yeah. And obviously follow me on Twitter at SmashGod, SmashG0D. Same thing on Twitch. And I'm writing on Team Dignitas, and I'm writing on supersmash.blog. But most importantly, make sure you guys follow Analog.
Yeah, at analogcast.
Yeah, at analogcast on Twitter.
Yep.
At soundcloud.com/analogcast.
Yeah, and if you're watching on YouTube, if you could subscribe, that would be great. If we hit a certain amount of subscribers, we can change the channel name to be custom and get like other stuff that will just make this easier for us. So that would be nice. Was there anything else I wanted to plug? I don't think so.
I think that's about everything. We're going to do this. The plan is to do this weekly.
Yep.
So expect I think we'll probably have another one out within the next week, right?
Yeah, we'll see. This one's not recorded on the day that we were supposed.
We're normally gonna do it, yeah.
To be recording,
but
so
there's more info coming on that front for sure.
Yeah.
So as long as you're followed on everything, you will get the notifications.
Yeah, and we're gonna have guests on and stuff.
Yeah.
We wanted to do it solo for this first one because it's
Yeah.
like our first episode, but
yeah, we already have some exciting stuff lined up. I'm pumped, man.
Really
I'm
really
so
fun
pumped.
stuff. Yeah. Yeah, and also just this part's gone on too long. But please let us know in the comments any suggestions you might have for what you want to see, what you want to see us talk about, how you want to see the show change, any format changes. Do you want to see Rishi destroy me in Melee?
Yeah.
With
anything. This is all super open-ended right now.
Yeah.
We're really excited. A lot of possibilities. A lot of cool episodes coming up in the very near future.
Yeah.
Exciting guests. All that fun stuff.
Yeah.
So I guess that's it. Thanks for listening.
Thanks, guys.